Well, now let's try to do a little modeling tonight, now that we've gotten the honors and awards out of the way. So I'd like to go to G-Scale Modeling. The sponsor for it is Alan Rogers Company. And so if we could run that video, please.
Welcome to New Creations Victorian Railroad Buildings, located in Bakersfield, California, 1 hour from the famed Tehachapi Loop. As part of building his model railroad layout, Alan Rogers took photos and made scale drawings of a number of buildings in the Southwest, many of which no longer exist. New Creations Victorian Railroad Buildings has turned these photos and drawings into kits with laser-cut wood, 3D printed components and detailed instructions. We produce kits in HO, O, S, N and G scales. Our O scale kits are compatible with Holiday Village dioramas. You can see our products at train shows or use the QR code to visit our website. We hope you will try our unique kits. They are easy and fun to build, even for beginners. You will enjoy the finished models for many years to come.
And now I'd like to introduce the host for G-Scale Modeling, Steve Bittinger. Steve, welcome.
So to start off with, I started saying that little change up in program for tonight. As a result of what happened at my business the other week was we had an arborist here from the power company involved in a project where we're taking down some trees along the power line. And he came up to my house, offices, and on the way up into the office, you have to pass by the layout and then indoors to the rest of it. And he was admiring my indoor trees, my scenery. And he made the comment and he said, where are your dead trees? And I said, well, I have a few. He said, well, you don't have nearly enough. He said, if you want this to look realistic, he said, you need more dead trees. I said, well, about how many dead trees do you think I need? And he said, well, if you want to model typical forest from the region where you are, he said about 1 in 8 to 1 in 15 trees standing are dead, depending on the species. So I took all this under consideration, and I just happened to have been doing some removing of some dead shrubbery out in the back of my yard, came up with some bushes that were dead and looked like trees. So I said, okay, I'm going to save these guys. They're not going to go in the dumpster. So I brought those in, and I decided that there's several ways, Steve and I talked this over, that trees die. First of all, you could have insect infestations that kill them. Some could die of old age. Others could die from lightning strikes, and some could die from fire. So I've decided on my layout, my outdoor layout, I am going to make a small scene along one ravine where we had a fire. And given that, I'm going to have Steve show you the first of our small trees that we have. And if I get my tape measure out, let me take a look. We're going to see this thing just a hair over 7 inches tall, G scale about 15 feet tall, O scale about 30, 60-foot tree in HO. And just for reference, we'll get out the building we built a few weeks ago. We get an idea what that's going to look like on the railroad. Then we got some larger ones that I brought in. Here's a bigger one, more G scale in size. And now we're looking at a tree, if I turn this around to the camera, of about 18 inches, 36 feet tall in G scale. And that's not really a large tree, given the forest where trees can be easily 60 or 70 feet tall. So our next step is how do we make it look like it was in a fire? So Steve came up with a couple of methods, and he's going to show you right now burnt trees.
First off, we can do it the real way, which I recommend doing outdoors. And you can see that beautiful flame. We would just run it over the branches, holding it more if we wanted it to be more burned, or further away if we wanted to show a lighter burn color. Of course, this would be a natural color. Or we could take the modern way, which is to use our flat black rattle can that we've used for other segments on here, making buildings and things like that. And that would be to spray it lightly on branches we don't want to have show a lot of burn, or dark if we want to show heavy burn marks. So it'd be more paint, darker color.
Now, the next question is going to be, how are we going to install these on the railroad? So for the indoor application, mine, anybody else that has indoor, Steve's going to show you an idea we have here for installing those.
Okay. This pertains to all those who are using styrofoam. If you're using styrofoam, all you have to do is take the tree, the trunk, and take and put a screwdriver and put a drill in it, and do a 4-penny nail or some other thing that you want to use to be glued in the end and stick in the styrofoam so it stays. Real simple, like that. Now, if, as an example, if you have a wooden base or a Homasote, you do the same process. You now have something you're sticking in, but you're going to be drilling a hole into the base. So imagine if this was wood. I've already attached what I'm going to stick in the wood to the trunk, and it's glued and it's not coming out. So what we want to do is we want to drill a hole wherever you want to put that, insert it into our scenery. So after we drill the hole, make sure you put something in there that's going to identify that hole, because if your tree is over here, you've got scenery, you are not going to be able to find that hole, guarantee it. So what we use here, for an example, it could be a long toothpick that just has the end of it painted red, which would identify where the hole is. Bring the tree over, pull it out, stick it in the hole, and you've got it. Now, for the big tree, which is going to be outdoors, we're going to use a finishing nail. We've drilled a hole in the base, in the trunk. We're going to insert a finishing nail, and now Steve will tell you how he's going to mount that on his outdoor railroad.
Actually, we're going to use a framing nail.
Framing nail.
Which has a pretty good sized head. We need that head for one reason. My track on my outside sits on concrete. It's all got a concrete sub base. A lot of guys outside wouldn't have that. So you got to have a couple methods of doing this. It doesn't really matter. You're still going to need the nail. I'm going to take a masonry drill bit and drill a 1/4-inch hole down into my concrete. I'm going to put some 2-part epoxy in there, and I'm going to slide this right down in there, support it temporarily until the epoxy sets up. And I guarantee you, it's not going anywhere. If I was out into just gravel or fill dirt or something of that nature, I'm probably going to put some type of base on the bottom of this, bury it down 3 to 4 inches down, whatever I need, where it's stable. It's going to be great. It's going to be upright. If I had I guess any other method out there would be to secure this with a longer branch. When I brought this in, I cut it to this length. You could cut these a bit longer and just bury the longer stem of it into the ground.
Steve, did you tell them where they can get this stuff?
I'll tell you the secret place where you get these.
Oh,
Okay. These are a species of holly. This one's called Hillary holly.
I just spell it.
Helleri. And I'm going to tell you the 2 best places to get these. If you don't have them dead in your yard like me, go to the big box stores, Home Depot, Menards, and Lowe's. Go to their landscape department. Say, hey, when your stuff dies here, what do you do with it? And they're going to say, well, they haul it away. And say, well, I'll tell you what, if you got any dead ones, here's my phone number. Give me a buzz. I'll come over and pick them up for free from you. You won't have to mess with them. Second place, go to a landscape nursery center. They got lots of dead bushes. Same thing. They're gonna trash those. Tell them, I'll buy those dead ones for a few bucks, or if you want to give them to me, that's fine too. I'll help you get rid of them. So there's two good sources where you're gonna find these ornamental pillory hollies. And we'll take questions on our dead trees. No questions.
No questions, huh?
No, I think where to get them is fantastic. I've never thought about that, but that is fantastic. That's where I get my sawdust from a furniture company that makes furniture. And they're happy if I come by with some black sacks and they'll fill them up for me.
Well, we love free.
Freeze best.
Yeah, I do too, but I had never thought about going to Home Depot and saying, what do you do with your dead plant? That's great.
Yeah, and I'll give you Steve's address also. He's got some in the backyard here. He wants.
All you gotta do is come and get them, right?
Yeah. Well, I will say the one thing, when I visit other people's layouts, mostly smaller scales, apparently everybody has incredibly healthy forests on their layouts because I'll guarantee you they're like 99% green and healthy, and Mother Nature doesn't go along with that. All right, for the second night, changing subject on you. Okay, so anyhow, we have operating sessions, and during that, typical like most everybody else, we use a wave bell system. We use two-way radios because of the size of the layout, indoors and out. And we've learned a few things along the way that a lot of the operators have said, if you do this or you do that, I think it would be better. So taking all that in, here's a couple of the new ideas from recent experience with our operators. First of all, these are the standard 4-part wave bill cards. I bet a lot of you have this one here. This one, we just decided that we're going to color code these. And here's a whole bunch of them, and they're all color coded for different trains. They're going to be dispatched. On the back of those, the guys have asked that we put a list of the stations in the order. And in this case, it's east to west because I have a point-to-point railroad. And we have a little branch line operation also. So they don't have to guess when they're at one place, what's the name of that next place, even though I put it on the fascia. They can just look on the back and they got it right there. Second item that happens frequently. People say, oh, I laid my waybill card down and now I can't find it. Believe me, we've had Easter egg hunting sessions trying to find where the waybills disappeared to. So given that, with this little clip, this holds a train worth of cars. The very one in the back, if you look at it, has a red top. That is the caboose at the end of your train. So when you go back through your cards, when you see the red one coming up, you know you've looked at all the cards that you have there. Next thing is, what do they do with them? I know we tried pouches you can wear. I have vests that people have pockets in. And this is the very best one I've come up with so far, is this device right here. And this fancy little thing is made from regular electric wire. This stuff, this is some 14-2 wire. 12, this one's a little bigger, 12-2. Go find some scraps. Get yourself one of these out of there. And what you're going to do next, you're just going to take your pliers, bend the loop, just like this. We're going to secure it. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some electric tape, go around this thing and tape that down. On the other end, we're going to turn this thing 90 degrees. We're going to bend this up and down one turn, just like that. So when this thing is finished, and it looks just like this one, you're going to be able to take your cards and you're going to hook them on there just like that. And the next question is, what do I do with this? A couple of things. One, have a shirt like I have with a pocket. You stick it in there. There you are. Nobody loses them. They're really handy. You can flip them up and look out without taking them out of your pocket. Me personally, I'm going to model these for you the other way. This loop is for in your belt or your pocket. You're simply going to hook that right on there. As you walk around, you got other things in your hands anyway. Very handy, right there at that spot for you. We've got more neat ideas coming up in the future for operating sections. I think we'll save those for a little later, and I think this one is a real winner. That's it for tonight, Jim.
Well, Steve, I appreciate it so very much. Anybody have any questions for Steve?
Yes, I do. What you had, you were talking about how many standing trees that are dead. How many are fallen?
What they call deadfall. We talked about that with the arborist, and it depends a lot on the species. For example, tall, skinny stuff like we have tulip poplars here. They blow over in the wind pretty daggone easy. Those will either end up stuck in another one next to it because they grow and grows, or when they finally drop to the ground, they bring like 3 or 4 of them down at one time. So there you're going to have a stack of debris on the ground. He didn't really have a specific percentage on that, but if a large tree falls in the forest, I'm sure you've been out in the forest, it leaves an open spot after it falls. All the new little trees will start forming around that spot. So that's typically what the ground looks like. Large dead tree on the ground, broken up in pieces, and new little young trees coming up around it to replace it. That answer your question?
Pretty much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Steve, thank you so very much. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.